of everything.
I mean UK and America and other countries like that. Why do the majority are just left to the dogs regarding education? But what kind of human being would think, you know what, that is good. We're talking about education and private education right now. Why would you think that human being exists, and why do you think he believes the separation of education? Why do you think he believes that education should be based not on merit, but how much money you have? Why?
Probably because he's rich or she's rich.
Yes, we that's a descriptive.
I think it's a simple
description again.
It's too simple to say. It's not one person who has decided it. It's a lot more complicated issue because it's not decided by one person. To change and to reform the education system would take a lot of legislation and a lot of money. And to get a lot of money, you'd have to get increased taxes, and nobody wants increased taxes.
But you live in a country
which is extremely taxed.
which is extremely taxed.
So we've already.
But you've said that everybody in your country gets the best of an education. This gentleman's from Switzerland. Did you
We don't get
Sweden.
Sweden.
everyone can
I'm
get the
dyslexic, so you'll have to.
So there are
This
schools
gentleman's
that
from
are better
Sweden,
than
everyone,
others.
and everybody in Sweden gets the best education possible for every
Oh
child.
no, well, see, some schools are better than others,
Ah.
but the thing is that you can choose
It doesn't
which school
cost.
you
It
want
doesn't
to go
cost
to.
money.
It doesn't cost money for us.
We pay nothing to go to school.
But why? Right. So
We actually get paid to go to school.
Yeah.
You get paid to go to school?
Yeah.
Like,
Can you just? What do you actually mean by that sentence? 'Cause,
Well,
so we get, vad heter det?
CSN.
We were
Bidrag. Like, if we attend school, we get from the state. We get money from the state because we attend school. So it's like
what? Right, everyone, listen to this. Listen to this.
Everyone thinks it's crazy.
If you go to Sweden and you think, you know what I think is good for me, is just to be educated in a school, that country will actually pay you money to be educated in that school, and that education is free. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Hands up here who thinks that's a crazy idea.
We also.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
It's a good
I'm
idea.
being facetious, by the way. Hands
Well, I
up who
don't
thinks
even know
that's
what that
a
word is.
crazy idea. No, hands up. Hands
we
up
also
who
get
thinks
free
it's a
food.
good idea
Yeah.
that your education is free and actually you get paid to be educated. Hands up who thinks that's a great idea.
Yeah, you get paid if you attend school.
If
So-
you attend
so
school.
If you
it's
don't
like-
attend school, you don't
don't
get
get
any
paid.
money.
Yeah.
But that's good work.
I think we all agree that's a brilliant idea. But to go back to the question I said earlier, is why do we have a system here in the UK and most countries in the world where if you receive the best education based not on your merit and capabilities, but you receive the best education based on how rich your parents are?
What's wrong with that?
That's the question I'm asking, and I think that's the question that I'd like to explore with all of you here in the next half hour. I think that would be reasonable.
Money runs the world, so if you got money, you're going to spend it
Money.
on education.
This gentleman here says money rules the world. Not in Sweden, it doesn't.
Yeah, well, the government's
Because
got the
we've
money.
got here in
Government's got the
Sweden,
money, so they're spending on
We've
the
got the
children.
people
Everyone
ruling
contributes to
the
the
education and the money.
Like,
And those
money's
people have
gotta come from
decided
somewhere.
what's best for our money is not to be spent on war, but to spend on educating our children and actually paying them. So you're wrong, would you say? It's
No,
not money.
It's the government. If they wanna pay us to go to school,
government-
they'll do
How
it.
does the government decide? Doesn't
I
the
don't know
power-
how did your government decide.
Doesn't the power reside with the people?
People, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
so if you
so the people have,
earn
if
enough-
they want their children to have a better education, and everything, they have to go on the street and tell their politicians that's what they want.
Or elect
So, yeah,
politicians.
you
who
know,
would like
if you
to
want
reform
change, the people's
the-
got to change it.
Yes.
So the people have to go and change it.
This
They
gentleman
can't sit
here
at
is
home
saying
and
it's the
expect
people
everything.
who are to blame in the UK for not making sure that education is based on merit instead of based on money. I think that's grossly wrong.
Isn't the UK a democracy?
our wonderful gentleman here has said is our UK democracy. I'm a regular at Speaker's Corner, and I argue on this platform that the UK is not a democracy in any shape or form.
Really?
Because if it
Well, it's a monarchy.
because if we
but
had
the
a
power
democracy,
doesn't reside with the Queen.
we'd
does it?
end up with the end. A democracy's proof of who benefits. Yeah, the majority should benefit in a democracy. In your country, the majority benefit by having a free education, and then not only that, they get paid to be educated. That is a very good indicator of whether you live in a democracy which functions.
We also get
In the
free
UK,
food.
in the UK, right now, our definition of a democracy is whoever's richest
They'll get 1,200
gets to decide
pounds.
what happens in this country.
You gotta
That
transfer
is
that.
not a democracy. If that happens to be the end result of you examining your reality, that means you've been lied to when they say to you and your communities, friends, families, children, that this is a democracy. No, because the majority would have what Sweden's been represented here. Thank you very much, Sweden. And Sweden, it's free education, which you get paid for as well.
But don't you get better
That's
education if you
a tester of democracy. Right now, if you're rich, then you are entitled to the best education
They're not
without
entitled,
wealth.
they pay for it, so how are they
That's
entitled to it?
not a definition of a good education
It
system.
doesn't matter, they're paying for their they got money and they're paying
What
for it.
a definition of a fully working and functional education system is that firstly, everyone has access to it, and secondly, if you excel, no matter where your wealth is or what your wealth is, then you're entitled to the best teachers a country or a community can offer you. That's sign of a functioning education within a democracy.
It's a basis.
What is a gentleman here said that is the basis. He's correct.
That's the beginning.
So my question is, as I was asked again, is why don't we have that? Why do we instead have a very few rich people deciding what our education will be, rather than having a democracy decide what our education? What is the motivation of that rich human being? Anybody like to make any suggestions?
It's also about tax, I think, because we pay a lot of tax.
No, that's not the question. The question is, why would a rich person, human being decide that a private education just for the rich is suitable for a whole country, when the majority of this and most countries, most people are actually quite poor and living within them to a fixed budget. So why would that rich person, a few human beings who are rich, decide the way our education is going to be, which
Who's the rich?
excludes
To
everyone?
protect
Why?
their privilege.
Yeah, but who's the rich people are deciding
Power.
our education?
Anyone else?
And power, privilege and power.
Anyone else like to offer a contribution? The lady here, I think, has hit the nail on the head with her suggestion, which is power. Because if your children and you are not receiving an education, how can you ever question the world that you live in? And if you don't question the world you live in, how can you then change the world you live in? So the world be shaped the way we, as the masses, would like it to see. And the masses have said, free education. The masses have said,
They teach children all the ideas that they want to put in the brain of the children.
so you're
That's what I do too. Yeah.
okay, there's an interesting.
There we have to look carefully because they show children, for example in Catalonia, You know, in Catalonia there is a very big, from generation to generation, indoctrination of children. All the
That's why
young
now
children,
they want
they
them
grew up with
Can
the
you-
nationalism and separatism
Nationalism.
in the brain.
Right.
And that's the problem in Catalonia. And in Spain also they teach feminism, they want to destroy the family, feminism, they want to destroy the
Yes.
family and everything.
Yes.
That's why in our case we have to go away. I prefer to pay,
Yes.
even if it's...
There we go. We've had a very interesting example of how power is controlled. The lady has said in her country that the education there is teaching about control, how things like feminism, for example, is a terrible thing in their country, that's how you control.
Feminism terrible?
That's how you control the political framework of a country. You educate ideas into children, and if that's
I agree with feminism because we have the same rights, but I don't agree with feminism that it's very
Denmark, we also have free education.
hate to men. I mean,
But in Spain, it is historically from a far-right political background in Spain until even recently they have a massive sway over Spain and have done for
It's
quite a
very
long time.
important. If you make all the children go to state schools, the teachers have to be impartial to politics, because otherwise you can indoctrinate the kids, and that's wrong.
Yes, I mean any form of
You need to
education
mold free
is a form of
individuals.
form of indoctrination.
Yeah.
So how do we overcome that? What we do is, as a democracy, decide amongst ourselves what we teach. Like sex education is a very good example, because the right-wing schools, which are religious schools as a rule, they will never teach sex education, and what they will teach, in fact, is how being gay is a terrible thing, and that you should be persecuting people who are of that nature. That's what happens a lot in private schools, because private schools, yes, they are owned by the rich for the rich, but fundamentally they are religious schools who wish to be free from a democracy. That's what private schools, their main aim is, to be free and independent of democracy. That's why they exist. That's why they exert the power and influence over the government that should be ours, but is in actual fact theirs in the UK. Sweden's different.
Yeah, on your fact in the state school that you have politics in the state school and one political vision. I'm teacher in a state school. First one, it's in Belgium. In Belgium, first one, it's forbidden to speak about party politics inside the class.
It's the same in Sweden.
Second one, when there are, for example, elections and you organize debates, you must all the different parties. Then you have the whole view. And of course, when there is politics inside the school, I have my opinion. I am left wing, but you have all other teachers who are right wing. You have inside the school teachers with different opinions.
Yes, and of course all teachers will have political
And
views.
that's a different skill.
They
That
need
private
to
schools you have
try
only
and separate.
there you have only
Private
only one
schools
view.
have one view, and one of their main aims
the school of the rich of the elite.
is to make sure that all the children that go there are apolitical, and in actual fact have no understanding of the social problems which exist within a country, whether it be the UK or America. And in actual fact, on top of that, they're actually taught to despise people of a working class nature. This is actually baked in to the education system within the private system. It's baked in to look down upon people who are maybe working as a dustbin man, maybe working as a nurse or a teacher in the comprehensive system. They're actually educated to look down and belittle those people. And another thing they're educated in the private system is that they are the special ones. They're the ones who should be going to become politicians. They're the ones that should be the head of minister positions in education in our country, the head of journalism. In the UK, our whole political sphere, from the media to parliament to law is dominated by the children of the private school system. Dominated. And their vision of the world is, as I've just said, is to look down and belittle. And the ones that do respect the working class, they're not educated in how to teach what is real justice for the people of this of a democracy. It doesn't matter what class you are, it's democracy. So as I said, to recap, the private education system in any country, its main goal is to be free and independent of democracy. That's its goal, because in a democracy, that means the people of that country have a say on what education will be happening in that. And then we'd see an education which should be more open, informative, actually bloody useful, because I don't know if some of you remember your education, we learned a lot of pointless rubbish through our time. And in actual fact, we've been learning about the social political crimes that's actually happening. That should be taught in school. Not only that, I believe that taught in school, human rights should be taught at school at the very earliest possible level.
I think you're missing one of the biggest...
I'm not missing anything, I just haven't had time to cover the universe just yet. But for me, we'd like to say, and then carry on.
The best thing about having good free education is that all people of a country benefit from the people being educated.
Yes.
Because that means less people working low-skill jobs and more people working jobs that will create more taxes and make the country rich because of exports. If you have a country that only has maybe factory workers, you don't generate a lot of exports, but if you have a country that produces a lot of entrepreneurs, you'll create even more jobs and you'll export a lot of money.
Why is that a threat to the rich, though? Why would that be a threat to the rich?
The same power.
I'll let this gentleman.
It doesn't make the richer less rich. It makes everyone more
If that
rich.
was the case in the UK, we'd have the same system as you. It's a threat. What you've described just there, I don't know if you all heard that. Did you all catch what he said? He said that if the masses are educated to the best, a whole country grows and prospers. And I'd go to more than that. Then justice and humanity can bloom. And also, a human being can learn to grow to their best capabilities rather than being crushed and punished for being a human being.
Well, I think what you're trying to say is that the more educated people are, the more difficult they are to control.
Bingo! That's exactly what I'm saying. You being educated is the threat to the people who own this country, the people who own this world. It's a threat that they cannot tolerate at any circumstances.
That's what I say.
And any attempt for us to be educated, they will corrupt and destroy. Which, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what they did do. New Labour came into power with the word Labour in it. In actual fact, New Labour was a right-wing government with a right-wing political view which they executed with ruthless determination. And that determination was to destroy Labour. And they did that. They destroyed Labour within the UK. When you destroy access for your child to be educated free from debt and the fear of debt, then you are, I lost my track of my... So yeah, if you destroy a chance for your child to be educated free of debt, that means you are right wing. At no point whatsoever are you a left wing government. Tony Blair, the people that support Tony Blair, they are without a shadow of doubt a right wing government dressed up in the clothes of the Labour Party. And the proof of that, they think Jeremy Corbyn's a nutter. Jeremy Corbyn is actually the representation of the Labour Party. When they attack somebody like Jeremy Corbyn, they're actually attacking not only the Labour Party as a left-wing movement, but they are literally destroying and corrupting the democracy that we all live in. So do you see what I mean by why the rich must hate your system of education,
Yeah.
and why they must, at any opportunity, just come along and destroy it?
Yeah, they want to stay rich, and if we
No, it's not about them staying rich. Where the lady over said,
Power.
it's power.
Yeah.
It is power.
The same
Wealth
what-
is immaterial.
The same go together.
It's
They go-
control
they
of
go
your
together.
education is the prime factor about having a private education system, because they, the rich, get to control it.
Yeah.
Do you see that?
Yeah.
Does this make sense, or do you think my analysis
No, it
is
makes
faulty?
perfect sense. If
Yes.
everyone is smarter, then everyone will see the problem, and then we can start to think and start change.
Bizarrely, in your country, you've got the wonderful education system. I would love to know more about it. I don't know if
For which country?
Sweden. I don't know if you can email me something, or suggest a website I can go to, or something like that. Or in actual fact, write the website I can go to.
That's the reason.
That would also be awesome.
That's the reason that in the United States so many young people support an old man as Bernie Sanders, because he's struggling for a free education for everybody on university.
Yeah.
He's against fees.
So to recap, private education exists so that the people of that country have no power. The power is shifted directly to the people with all the wealth. And then the people with all the wealth dictate what education you will get. And that education is built on hate, despair, and fear, rather than hope and wonderment, and encouraging the growth of education and the wonder of education. Because that's what education should be about. Everybody, at every point in their stage of their life, should have access to education. If you don't, that means a crime has been committed upon you. That is a crime. That isn't just incidental. That is not just how the world is. That is not just what I accept, and I'm too poor for me or my children to get the best education. That is a literal crime against you and your community that you are in. A crime is taking place. And unfortunately, why is it not in our media this is a crime? Why is it not being talked about in politics this is a crime? Because all those people
Control the
who
media.
are in politics, majority of people, in politics, and who own our media, come from private schools.
Robert Murdoch.
That's it. And they make sure that the crime that happens to you every single day will never make it to the media, as I've described it. Never make it to the halls of Parliament, as I've described it. Because if it did, then things would change. If you see it as a crime and acknowledges it as a crime, then you can start asking for peaceful, at all times peaceful, justice. And what are you fighting for? Are you fighting to destroy a world? Are you just trying to repress somebody? Are you fighting to pollute the world? No. What you're actually asking for is for an education of a merit which is wonderful. That's what it is. And yet somehow that's been classed as a crime by those in power. Anyone disagree with that language? Sorry?
It's no coincidence, of course, that the most right-wing newspapers are newspapers for the common people, as the Sun, for example.
Yeah.
Because they keep the people. Stupid, how must I say it? Control the people with their right-wing stuff in papers and the good.
It's
you
not a
understand?
coincidence that the rich own our media. It isn't a coincidence that the rich own our political system. It isn't a coincidence that the rich own the majority of the health system in the world. Because this same model that I have presented now easily be overlaid the education system. In Sweden, do you get free health there as well? Yeah. Is there any private entity within your health system?
Yes, but they get paid by the government. If they take care of our people, they get paid.
I think that's dangerous and potentially, I think that's very dangerous. We have the same. We actually have the same system as you. Then.
No, like there are private schools and there are private hospitals, but you don't. You pay the same, and you don't pay for school.
Whoa, hang on, I'm confused. Hang on.
Depending on what you do at the hospital, sometimes you need to pay. Like if you're operating, that costs money, but it doesn't cost. Like if you get cancer in USA,
if you're ill in the USA, then it's game over
but in
for you.
Sweden,
If you're poor.
if you get cancer, most of the treatment is paid by healthcare.
So it's partially free.
It's mostly.
Yeah, that's the word partially means. You're not English language, I shouldn't criticise. Pardon?
All children get free dental care till they're 22.
25.
Oh, no, that's
It's
23.
It doesn't anymore.
Yeah, but it's you get free dental care and all the visits to the doctor is also free until you're 18. Yeah, until you're of.
So why is it not free throughout a whole adult's life?
Well, it depends on what sickness it is.
All right, well, I mean literally free. Why is it everything not free for an entire adult's life?
It would take a lot of taxes, like 100%.
We already have a lot of taxes, and most of it
Would
is
you like to
covered.
pay 100% taxes?
I would like a country, because you come from a very rich country anyway.
How much would you like to pay taxes? 100%.
I would
What's your
like,
maximum?
you see, you're making this, what you're doing is bringing down this into numbers. Numbers justify the end result. Actually, that's not the case. What justifies the end result is the quality of life for a human being. That's the figure which should be looked at. Your figure is cost. You're trying to analyse the cost, and I guarantee you this, that the important figures will never be included in that cost. Because yes, an individual may suffer, but there's also a community around that. How is that going to get possibly costed? When if one individual is ill, then how do you cost the actual impact upon that rest of the community economically? You can't, because there's too many factors. But we do know that when someone becomes ill, everybody in the community has to contribute their time or something, and that's not ever costed. So don't start working out a cost equals an action. Work out the quality of a human being's life so that they can function as a human being. So for example, you can't cost what fear means to an individual, the fear to exist. How do you cost that?
And exactly
because
what
that
you're
will
saying.
result into mental health issues
So you
and
ask
fear and many other
if-
terrible factors
if
which
you
can
ask
happen.
If the healthcare system is completely free. And
Completely free.
It's not
Travel
completely
should be completely free. Education should be. Why should health should be completely free? Why should travel be completely free?
Travel should be completely
Yeah, why would that be a good idea?
exchange of culture and information is important
Travel
to
within
understand
the
each
country
other.
Sorry, my question was terrible. So, why would an infrastructure, let's pretend, for example,
Oh, you mean
like
commuting?
commuting, yes.
I've been at
Commuting and travel. What
I've
I'm trying to, let's imagine a country has spent billions on a transport system where it's public transport, and then proposing to spend those billions, possibly trillions, and then proposing to give it free to everyone, as long as they don't abuse it, as in damage it or anything, then they will be excluded for that, or obvious things like that. Why would that be cheaper to give a country a free, totally £1 trillion, whatever, totally free? Why would that be cheaper than not doing that? Any thoughts? Woo!
Well, perhaps it would. Like my argument for free transportation is that then more people would take the trains and they're taking the trains to work, so perhaps they would work a bit more, which would generate a bit
That's
more
a good.
taxes.
Thank you. That's very good. Now let's go profound, and let's go. Yes, let's think local, which you just did, but let's think more global. What would be the global consequences of one country having totally free transport on a global sense? Do you see a relationship between the two? Firstly, the way I should just the way to be an intellect is, yes, you need to think on a local level, the action to local people, but an intellectual act was also include all global consequences of that minutiae, because we live, I believe, you believe that people don't actually think this, that we live in an enclosed ecosystem which is finite, unbelievably. So the way to be an intellect is, yes, think locally what you've done, but the next thing is also to think every single action a human being does has a global consequence at some level, minimal, but then if we times that individual by 6 million, suddenly that individual now has massive global impact. It's now 6 million. Am I making sense? Good. So that's an important way to analyse decision-making process. So I ask you now again, why would a free transport system paid for completely by the government with the $1 trillion like investment? I'd imagine it wouldn't be that much, by the way, but I'm just saying that ridiculous figure to glorify how brilliant an idea that actually is. Why would that be? What's the other effect?
So within the whole country, like within the whole UK or?
Yeah, any country.
Yeah.
Why would that be cheaper to go do that than what we have now, like in the UK?
Oh well, because you wouldn't have to have the infrastructure to make sure that people pay.
Yeah. Oh, that's yeah. Okay.
You would also get
That's another very local thought. That doesn't affect the world as a whole.
I'm not quite following.
Sorry for being so
You
cryptic. I'm just trying to.
I can't quite.
Yeah, sorry
I've
for
been
being so
trying.
cryptic. What I was trying to do just then, I wasn't trying to embarrass you or anything. I was just trying to push your mind into another area. So that's all I was trying to do. So
I understand.
don't take that. I
But
wasn't being.
what is your reason for a completely
So-
free
What's
transport
your-
system?
Every car and every vehicle has an engine in it.
Yeah. So the environment issue.
Yes, exactly. Every time the petrol engines turn.
I thought monetarily, yes.
Yeah.
That is monetary. Do you know how many people
yeah.
die each year due to air pollution across the world?
Yeah, that's
Just car
and,
accidents.
and the thing is, it's cancer, so they can't actually track the stats.
Not only is the figure of death per year just from breathing the air, but there's a mental health consequence. Scientists have just linked that air pollution actually affects mental health.
Yes.
Scientists have a long time linked that breathing in just air pollution from cars destroys the lung system, asthma. Do you know what the cost of that is? I tell you what, it exceeds infinitely the number of having a free transport system within a country.
Yes, that's
And not only that, have we got the human being, but then we've got the other global thought again, which is literally the globe. You can't have a community if there isn't no planet.
Yeah, but so your argument is that the best thing about making the transport,
Making transport free,
local communication,
a free, fully functional,
Yes.
well-organised
Yes.
transport system,
yes,
it would save the planet.
because you remove the petrol engine.
Move the
Okay,
Yeah.
but then we introduce electric vehicles.
Yeah, brilliant. But we can't do that because we don't own the infrastructure in this country. Do you know who dictates how an infrastructure is going to work on the transport infrastructure works? Car companies. They
Yeah.
lobby government
Yes, of course.
to what? And do you know what they want? They want to sell cars.
Yes.
And they know their cars destroy the environment. They literally know that. Not only that, they've been prosecuted
Of course.
for cheating. You know Volkswagen?
Yeah, and they cheated on a couple
They
of tests to show
Oh
that
yeah,
their
don't be
cars were in.
don't be
as
cavalier with a
environmentally
couple of
friendly.
tests like that. I know you mean well, but yeah, don't be cavalier when so many people are dying. If people are literally dying from an accident, it's best not to be cavalier, if you don't mind me criticising
I
your
understand your point.
because it is very serious subject. This
Yes.
because. And also, as I just said a moment ago, it's not just the fact that people literally are dying from diesel fumes. actually the consequence of health to that person is damaged. All our healths are damaged, no matter where we are.
Yes,
and that health destruction costs money.
Yeah, because it can't work, and that
Yeah.
it can't generate taxes.
So when I proposed the idea of a totally funded infrastructure, public, for a country, let's say it costs a number of 1 trillion to do that, and it's free forever, is that actually more expensive or less expensive than the system we have now?
It is less expensive, of course, but this is an ideal, and you have to get people on board. And people are extremely...
Are you on board?
Of course I am.
Then I've got one person on board.
One out of
Everybody has
60 million or
Yeah.
something.
So what do you do? Just give up?
No,
Or would you go home and talk to your friends and family
I've been
and give a
advocating
talk?
it.
Give a talk.
I've been
Do you give a
advocating-
talk to your community about what you've just heard now?
Yeah.
Is that what you do? Or do you just give them and go, well, too many people?
I thought about picking up politics, but I mean it's difficult.
Well,
and
okay.
it's not just something you pick up.
It takes a lot of time.
It takes a lot of time, yeah?
And most people are lazy, so they're gonna try.
Like
and
you.
Yeah, I'm
Like most people,
But he
I'm.
just
What you
doesn't
meant to
believe
say
it.
was, I'm lazy. Most people may be true, but we don't know most people. But we know you.
Exactly.
But also talking about most people.
Sorry for
because-
criticising
No,
you so
I'm-
much.
It's
What
good
I'm trying to do
criticize.
again is trying to get your
No,
mind
it's
to.
good to criticize, and I
Yeah,
don't
and
mind
I'm
it.
not being facetious,
But
and I'm
here-
not being,
Here is the other thing. People
rude.
psychologically are incredibly bad at delayed gratification.
That's incorrect.
No, I'm pretty sure I could point to several studies that
It's
would link
incorrect.
delayed gratification.
Because-
if you put a child in a room and you say, "Here is a cookie."
Yeah, I know
you
the
eat the
example.
cookie.
I know the example.
Yeah, of course, and this is applicable to education, to everything. And what you're saying is, we pay more money than anything has been spent on something, and we're not going to generate any money from it because it's so far in the future. Our children will benefit from it, and their children's children will benefit from it. But we can't see that far ahead because biologically we're not made to that. We think about me. How do I benefit from this? And I don't particularly benefit. It's an extremely huge upfront cost. It's the best thing for
All
the
right.
planet.
Okay,
but
great.
it's-
You've
it's
given up. Okay, that's fine.
Yes,
You've
I
given
have.
up.
I've
That's
given
fine.
up.
Do you think?
I don't think
Do you
we
think
should
I've
stop
ever had that
trying.
thought in my own head about what you've described?
I don't think we
Do you
should
think
stop
I've ever
trying.
had that thought? Yes or no? Or how big it is? Do you know what I decided to do with that thought?
Don't care about it.
Decided to get on platform in front of you and talk about it.
Well,
That's what I decided. What I didn't go was, god damn it. It's always been like that.
what you're talking about is like the tube. We have tube in Sweden as well. And in the summers last year, the government paid all the school kids. They got free transport
Yeah.
for the
And
entire
also,
summer.
if you live too
So,
far away
like,
from the school,
something
you
like
get it
that.
for free.
So an easier way to do this than perhaps to pay millions of
Trillions.
trillions, yes, would be for the state to give out Oyster cards
Yeah.
to the citizens who are working.
It won't work. Remember we were talking about education. Do you remember we were talking about education and I said the rich cannot ever give people education because that means they have power once you have education. The rich, the elites, the people that own our planet, they'll always intervene unless we describe things in literal terms. What is a crime? A crime is not to be educated. That is a literal crime. It is a crime
It's
to
a
breathe in
violation
air.
of human rights.
Breathe in air. It's human
One
right.
of
It's a
the
crime to breathe in air
rights.
that's killing you.
Not to eat is a crime.
That's also a crime. We're very hungry. We've stood here for more than half an hour, and I thought your suggestion about talking about this for half an hour was very reasonable.
Yeah.
And my friends are very hungry, and I appreciate you.
Thank you, dude. Are you on
Is there somewhere we
Good
can
luck.
like
Good luck, man.
Yes.
support you or something?
Make the
Yeah.
tube free.
Can I grab your email address and I can send you a link?
Yes, please.
And if you search how does the Swedish education system
Yeah, let me
work,
take a picture of that.
you can see every child has. And I just googled this. Isn't it amazing how every person has photographic memory right now? You carry around a computer more powerful than the thing that put people on the moon.
Yes.
And it's the 50th anniversary
I am
of the moon
educated.
landing.
I know.
No, of course.
I know you mean well.
But I'm trying to.
That sounds best.
Think about
that sounds
it
best
that
for
way.
somebody who hasn't just stood on a platform for you in an hour and detailed some pretty profound stuff. I appreciate you saying that. There you go. Yes. I
Like
know
the
that.
future is amazing. We like to think.
Future is amazing.
Yes.
Now that is a very beautiful
Because
sentence.
we think
Thank you.
about
But,
all the big trouble and it's
but-
war everywhere.
But the future won't be amazing unless we start standing on platforms and talk about. Can I put? Oh yeah, can everyone please?
I'm taking this. Oh. You're saying
Yes, the future is amazing.
No, it,
Oh, wait, oh. What is it doing?
Because
Oh, is it
you're
the
fingering the
Google,
wrong
is it the Google
parts.
Pixel?
Let's not
Is that a
Pixel.
Google Pixel?
Yes, it is.
Oh, that's an amazing phone.
The
It's got a
camera is
great
amazing.
camera.
Oh, yeah, the
and
best.
it's not just a camera; it's artificial intelligence in the camera.
Yeah.
We all studied
no,
technique.
he's always like that.
All right,
We
okay.
studied
Thank you for saying that.
engineering in school,
Right.
high school.
Yeah.
We just graduated, so I'm very technically interested.
Yeah, the AI in that is sweet as can be.
And you agree that it's got really good night pictures? Because what it does is it reduces the grain. When it cranks up the ISO, it with artificial intelligence calculates where the grain shouldn't be and removes it.
Have you seen the chess analysis of AlphaZero?
The computer that
Google, the AI, artificial intelligence there is the baby version of AlphaZero. And AlphaZero
is the one that beat the greatest chess player.
No, it beat the greatest chess program.
Yes.
Just like that. And listen to this. It's what's getting me onto subjects I really enjoy. You put your email in there as well.
I can't promise I'll respond, but
You don't need to respond. I just want your email address. You can do whatever you wish to do with information and life and loves. I won't interfere with that, but I will say hello. That's what I will do. Yeah, my name's Dust, by the way.
Your name is
Dust.
Dust.
Yes.
Like D.
Dust.
Dust. Yeah. Okay.
Dust. Yeah.
that's a good name.
It is a good name. Thank you very much.
I'm very terrible at remembering names, but if it's something, if the name is
can
of
associate it with something.
yes,
Yeah, associate it with cleaning up things.
you got a good beard. Maybe one day I'll try, but I think I should shave first.
Yeah, it is a beard. I'm going to shave it off soon, but
I
yeah.
think you look good in beard.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed your time. Did you enjoy our discussion, by the way?
You
Yeah,
were the
yeah.
only one here who actually discussed.
Yeah.
Everyone
yeah.
else was just screaming.
That's what I tried to do.
you're successful.
There are some other great speakers like Kyle and Haiku, and am I forgetting someone possibly? But there are some other great speakers that do come here. But generally, unfortunately, it is generally being shouted at and being judged.
Yeah.
Generally, unfortunately, there is
the
a
one
theme
on
of
the
that.
laughter that the cowboy.
Yeah.
Is he American?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's American.
I'm not sure. I think I'm not sure, but I would assume he is.
He's a
but I'm not,
lunatic.
don't quote me if he is.
He's a complete lunatic.
Well, he's certainly got an opinion, that's for sure.
But I mean, he says he talks very much and says absolutely nothing.
Yes. There's Kyle, by the way. He's the dude who owns that platform over there. He's a really good speaker as well. Just say Dust said go and say hello to him. Kyle is really good, but he is from the private education system now. I can warn you.
It's not your camera. They are.
It looks like he's trying to mate with you.
Yes,
I keep thinking you've wet yourself, by the way.
Yes. You're not.
Sorry
the
about. I
first
keep
one.
looking, thinking.
I've thought the same thing.
Have I excited him so much that he's
No,
lost
it's,
all bladder control? I'm thinking, wow, there's a first.
It's very comfortable.
Yeah, it looks
doesn't
very
look very
comfortable.
nice.
But I keep thinking,
It's woodland pants.
Yeah.
They're made for outdoors.
yeah, they look solid and
But
awesome. I respect you for wearing
I
them.
can definitely tell you, it looks like, yes.
I keep thinking that, and I keep thinking, should I say something?
I've
Don't say
said-
anything,
I've
Dust,
said the
because
right
it's a bit
thing.
rude.
And then
then eventually I go, no, gotta say, because every time I look down, I keep thinking.
I understand that, and I thought the same thing. But there are
But I
two-
tried very hard. But
It's a
unfortunately,
it's a
the
sacrifice
Joker
I'm willing-
inside of me leapt out.
it's a sacrifice I'm willing to take for the
Good man. I'm
comfortability.
fucking proud of that one. You get a proper handshake for saying that.
I appreciate it.
You get a proper handshake.
None of
on
you
that
get
one.
handshake. I did.
Hey!
But where does the camera? Is it like a YouTube or?
where
Yeah,
can we
YouTube. So
find
this is Riza who does this, and it's owned by a man called Leon. And it's content over everything. Do you want to write that down?
Yeah.
Content over everything.
And
And
it's
this
on
organisation is extraordinary. It's run by Leon. There you go.
Oh,
Wonderful. That makes life easier. And this wonderful fella has to listen to me all this time and put up all my verbal nonsense or wonder, depending on what you think. He's a great fella, and he's a great contribution to not only Speaker's Corner, but the world. Because all of you now can go on YouTube and listen to what happens at Speaker's Corner. So what he's doing,
we make a lot
he's,
of.
in my eyes, this man and Leon is a bloody hero.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Because my words will be lost forever, because I'm too stupid to be writing it.
I love watching these.
Say,
I've watched these on
you lot,
YouTube,
say,
and now I'm
come
here.
here, before you go, come here. Say a big hello to Leon and Riza here. And say a big thank you. Say thank you to
Tack så mycket.
I promise to go to his website and views and all that.
We will.
Thank you very much for doing that. Cheers, you lot.
Hej då.
You've been wonderful. Enjoy yourself.
It was nice agreeing to someone.
Yes, and find a platform and stand on it. Good men. Metaphysical platform. Whatever. Yay! Oh man, look.
Content over everything. From your Come, man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV.
Let us make all the decisions. That's exactly why we had slavery. It's exactly why we have war and genocide. It's exactly why we have repression of the minorities in our society. It's because gentlemen like him said, just let the rich make all the